If poverty was a university course, Amara would have been the vice-chancellor. She wasn't just broke, she was broken. In the dusty, crowded streets of Lagos, where everybody runs faster than their shadow just to catch a bus that's already full, Amara was running backwards. She was a chef, a true magician in the kitchen who could make stones taste like chicken and water taste like wine, but luck was never on her menu. Her landlord, a man with a belly that entered the room 5 seconds before his legs did, had already given her the quit notice with his eyes. You know that look? The one that says, "If I don't see a transfer alert by Friday, you will sleep with the mosquitoes." Amara needed a miracle. And, as they say, when the devil is drumming, opportunity likes to dance. One hot afternoon, while she was scrolling through her phone with 1% battery and 0% hope, she saw it. An advertisement. It wasn't on a job board or a LinkedIn page. It was a small, elegant flyer pinned to a market wall, right next to a poster advertising a herbal cure for enemies at work. The flyer read, "Wanted, expert cook for the Okoro family. Must be skilled in traditional delicacies. Salary, 500,000 naira per month. Accommodation included. The only condition? Must work only at night." Amara wiped her eyes. 500,000 naira? For cooking? In this economy where people are pricing onions like they're gold? It sounded way too good to be true, and her mother always told her, "Amara, if the meat is too sweet, check if it isn't dog meat." But hunger has no ears. The worms in Amara's stomach were staging a full-blown protest, and she had to silence them. She went to the address. It was in a highbrow area, the kind of place where even the silence is expensive and the dogs eat better than university graduates. The house was a mansion, tall and white, standing alone like a proud woman who refuses to greet her neighbors. The gate opened automatically ghost mode, and Amara walked in. The woman who interviewed her, Madame Azine, was beautiful. But it was a scary kind of beauty. Her skin was smooth like polished ivory, but it felt cold. Her eyes were dark, like a well with no bottom. She didn't smile. She didn't offer water. She just looked at Amara the way a butcher looks at a cow, assessing the weight, the quality, the value. "The job is simple," Madame Azine said, her voice sounding like dry leaves crushing together. "You will cook a feast every single night. A kusi, oha, jollof, fried rice, goat meat, cow leg. Enough to feed 20 people. You start at 6 p.m. You finish at 11 p.m. You set the dining table. And then, you go to your quarters at the back. You must lock your door. You must not come out until 6 a.m. Do you understand?" Amara nodded so fast her head nearly fell off. "Yes, Ma, I understand. But Ma... 20 people? Is it a party every night?" Madame Ezen's eyes flashed. "We have... guests, a hungry guests. They come from far away. They only eat at midnight. And Amara?" She leaned in. "One last rule. The most important one. Once you serve the food and leave the main house, never look back. And never ever try to see the guests. Curiosity killed the cat. But in this house, curiosity does things far worse than death." Amara didn't care about the rules. She was already calculating 500,000 naira in her head. She signed the paper. She didn't know she was signing her life away. The first week was paradise. The kitchen was bigger than Amara's entire village house. It had stainless steel pots that shone like mirrors, knives sharp enough to cut through secrets, and a freezer stocked with the finest meats. Cow, goat, chicken, turkey, ram, it was a graveyard of animals. Every evening Amara cooked with passion. The aroma would travel from the kitchen, heavy with curry, thyme, and the sweet smell of crayfish. She made soups that bubbled like volcanic lava. She fried plantains that were as golden as the sun. She pounded yam until the mortar begged for mercy. At 10:55 p.m., she would set the long mahogany table. 20 plates, 20 golden goblets, 20 spoons. The dining room was grand, with a chandelier that looked like frozen tears. But the house was always quiet, too quiet. There were no children running around, no TV noise. Madame Azine and her husband, a tall silent man who walked as if he were floating, always stayed in their rooms upstairs. At 11 p.m. sharp, Amara would walk out the back door to her small quarters. She would hear the heavy lock of the main house click shut behind her. Then, silence. But around midnight, the sounds would start. From her small room, Amara would hear it. It wasn't the sound of music or laughter like a normal party. It was the sound of heavy dragging, like heavy furniture being pulled across the floor. Then the clattering of plates, violent clattering, forks scraping against teeth, bones snapping. It sounded like a pack of hyenas tearing into a carcass. And underneath it all, a low humming chant that made the hairs on Amara's arms stand up like soldiers at attention. Rich people are strange, Amara told herself, burying her head under her pillow. Maybe this is how they get their money. A strange cult party. As long as my alert enters, let them eat stones for all I care. But something bothered her. Every morning, when she went back to the main house to clean up, the dining room was spotless. The pots were licked clean. Not a single grain of rice remained. And the bones, big, thick cow bones, were gone. Eaten. Crushed. Who eats cow leg bones? Who eats the hard skull of a goat without leaving a single trace? And the strangest thing? Madame Azine and her husband were getting thinner. You would think people hosting feasts every night would be fat and fresh. But no, Madame Azine's skin was becoming gray. Her husband looked like a piece of dried fish. Their eyes were sinking deeper and deeper into their skulls. They looked like people who were starving, even though thousands of calories of food were disappearing in their house every night. One morning, Amara found something on the dining table. A single long fingernail. It was yellow, jagged, and dirty. It looked like it had been dug out of the earth. She picked it up, and a cold shiver ran down her spine. Colder than ice water. This was not the fingernail of a living person. She showed it to Madame Azine. Ma, I found this on the table. Maybe one of your guests needs a manicure. Madame Azine snatched the nail from her hand. Her eyes widened in genuine terror. She gripped Amara's wrist, her fingers strong and ice cold. Did you see anything? Did you look through the keyhole? No, Ma. Ma. I swear. Good, Madame whispered, her whole body trembling. Cook more tonight. Add more meat. They are still hungry. If they are not satisfied with the food... they will take something else. By the third week, the atmosphere in the house had changed. The air was heavy, smelling faintly of wet soil and rotten flowers. The lights in the hallway flickered constantly. Amara's curiosity, that dangerous disease that affects all of us, began to itch. She remembered her mother's warning, but she also remembered the strange sounds. Who were these guests? Why did they arrive only when she left? Why did the master and mistress look like they were dying? On a Tuesday night, after cooking a massive pot of pepper soup that was hot enough to wake the dead, Amara made a decision. A foolish decision. A fatal decision. She set the table as usual. She arranged the 20 seats. She placed the steaming bowls of meat. But instead of walking out the back door to her quarters, she slipped into the small pantry cupboard near the dining room. It had a wooden slat door. She could see out, but no one could see in. She waited. The clock struck 12. The temperature in the room dropped. Amara could see her own breath misting in the air. The lights in the chandelier flickered and died, leaving only the moonlight spilling through the tall windows. Then, the front door did not open. The windows did not open. Instead, the floor began to bleed. Dark, thick shadows oozed up from the floorboards like oil, and then they took shape. Amara clamped her hand over her mouth to stop the scream climbing up her throat. They were not people. They were things that used to be people. Some were dressed in old, tattered rags from a century ago. Some wore expensive suits that were covered in mold. Their skin was peeling. Their eyes were empty sockets, and their jaws hung loose. But the terrifying part was not how they looked. It was who led them. Madame Azine and her husband walked into the room, naked, their bodies painted with white chalk. They were crawling on their knees, heads bowed to the floor, like servants. The ghosts, the 20 guests, sat at the table. They didn't use spoons. They plunged their rotting hands into the hot pepper soup. They tore the meat with jagged teeth. They crunched the bones. The sound was wet and sickening. Amara watched in horror, as Madame Azin crawled to the head of the table. A spirit, large and bloated with water dripping from its clothes, looked down at her. "Is it enough?" Madame Azin whispered, her voice trembling. "We have given you the cows. We have given you the goats. Is the debt paid?" The spirit stopped eating. It leaned forward, its neck cracking. "The food is good," it hissed. The voice sounded like gravel grinding together, but it has no life. "Dead animals cannot pay for life. We gave you wealth. We gave you long life. But the contract is ending. We need fresh blood." Madame Azin began to weep. "But there is no one left. We have no children. We have no family. Who do you want?" The spirit turned its empty eye sockets toward the pantry door, toward where Amara was hiding. It smiled, revealing teeth made of rusted iron. "The cook," the spirit whispered. "She has put her sweat into the food. She has put her soul into the seasoning. She smells the delicious." Amara's heart stopped. She didn't breathe. She prayed to every god she knew. Maybe they didn't see her. Maybe the spirit was just guessing. But then, Madame Azin stopped crying. She slowly lifted her head. She turned toward the pantry. And for the first time since Amara met her, Madame Azin smiled. "You are right," Madame said, standing up. She wasn't weak anymore. She wasn't trembling. The cook. That was the plan, wasn't it? Amara froze. "What?" Madame Azin walked to the pantry door and yanked it open. Amara tumbled out, falling at the feet of the ghosts. She looked up at Madame Azin, her eyes begging for mercy. "Madam, please, I cooked for you. I served you." Madame Azin looked down at her with cold indifference. "You didn't think I paid you 500,000 Nira just to fry plantain, did you?" "My dear, in this world, nothing is free. We owe them a life every 10 years to keep our wealth. Last time, it was my sister. Before that, my husband's brother. We ran out of family." She leaned closer to Amara's face. "So we put out an advertisement. We needed someone with no family nearby. Someone desperate, someone hungry. We didn't hire a cook, Amara. We hired the main course." Amara tried to scramble back, but the guests were standing up now. They weren't slow anymore. They moved with unnatural speed, their limbs cracking, their mouths opening unnaturally wide. Amara screamed, scrambling toward the kitchen door. She grabbed a heavy frying pan, her only weapon. She swung it at the nearest spirit, but the pan passed right through its body like smoke. "You can't fight them with iron," the husband said, speaking for the first time. His voice was hollow. "They are your ancestors, the forgotten ones. They are the hunger of the earth." Amara ran. She ran faster than she had ever run in her life. She reached the back door. Locked. She banged on it. "Help! Somebody help me!" But who would hear her? The walls were thick. The compound was silent. And the neighbors? In that rich neighborhood, nobody looks out for nobody. She turned around. The spirits were closing in. Madame Azin and her husband stood at the back, watching, holding hands. They looked younger now. As the spirits approached Amara, the wrinkles on the couple's faces were smoothing out. The gray hair was turning black. They were feeding off her fear. "I quit," Amara screamed, tears streaming down her face. "I quit this job." "You can't quit," the bloated spirit hissed, reaching out a hand that dripped with swamp water. "Dinner is served. Have you ever heard the saying, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is? Well, let me tell you a story that will make your skin crawl and have you looking over your shoulder the next time you see a job ad that promises the world. This is a story from the heart of Lagos, a city that never sleeps, a city of dreams, but also a city of nightmares. Our story begins with a young woman named Amara. Amara was like so many of us, full of ambition, with dreams bigger than her bank account. She was a talented cook, the kind who could make a simple pot of jollof rice taste like a feast for kings. But talent doesn't always pay the bills, does it? She was scrolling through job sites one evening, feeling a little bit hopeless when she saw it. An ad that seemed like a mirage in the desert of her job search. Wanted, expert cook for a private residence in Ikoyi. Salary, 700,000 naira a month. 700,000 naira a month. For context, that's a life-changing amount of money for many people. It was more than she could ever dream of making in a year. The ad was simple, almost too simple. No long list of qualifications, no demand for years of experience in a 5-star hotel. Just expert cook and an address. Her heart pounded in her chest. This was it. This was the breakthrough she had been praying for. Without a second thought, she sent in her application. She didn't tell her mother, didn't tell her friends. She wanted to surprise them with the good news once she got the job. A part of her was scared they'd say it was a scam, that they'd try to talk her out of it. And she couldn't let anyone dim this flicker of hope. The very next day, she got a call. A smooth, elegant voice on the other end invited her for an interview and a cooking trial. The address was in one of the most exclusive parts of Ikoyi, a mansion that looked like it was plucked from a magazine. As the massive iron gates creaked open, Amara felt a shiver run down her spine, but she dismissed it as excitement. The woman who greeted her was Madame Aziane. She was impossibly beautiful, draped in expensive fabrics, with skin that seemed to defy age. She had a smile that could charm a snake, but her eyes held a strange, ancient coldness. Madame Aziane was impressed with Amara. She barely tasted the food Amara prepared before offering her the job on the spot. "You have a gift, my dear," she'd said, her voice like honey. "A real gift. The job is yours. You can start tomorrow. You'll live here, of course. All expenses paid." Amara was ecstatic. She felt like she had won the lottery. A live-in position, no more rent to worry about, and a salary that would change her family's life forever. She called her mother that night, her voice trembling with joy. "Mama, I got a job! A wonderful job! I won't be able to visit for a while. I'll be very busy, but I will send you money soon. More money than you've ever seen." Her mother was happy for her, but a seed of worry was planted. It all seemed to happen so fast. Amara's first week was a dream. The mansion was quiet, opulent. Her only duty was to cook 3 meals a day for Madame Aziane. But here's the strange part. Madame Aziane barely ate. She would ask for elaborate dishes, traditional Nigerian cuisine rich with spices and flavor. Amara would spend hours crafting these perfect meals, presenting them on fine china. Madame Aziane would take a single, delicate bite, smile, and say, "Exquisite." Then she would have the rest cleared away. Amara found it odd. Who hires an expert cook and pays them a fortune just to taste a single bite of food? She asked one of the other staff, a quiet gardener who had been there for years. The gardener just shook his head, his eyes wide with something that looked like fear. "Don't ask questions," he whispered. "Just do your work, collect your money, and don't look too deep." The warning sent another chill down Amara's spine. But the thought of that 700,000 naira was a powerful sedative. She pushed her worries aside. She was getting paid, wasn't she? That's all that mattered. Weeks turned into a month. Amara noticed other strange things. She never saw any visitors at the mansion. Not one. It was always just her, Madame Aziane, the silent gardener, and a chauffeur she rarely saw. And the house had a smell. A faint, sweet, cloying scent that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Sometimes, late at night, she would hear strange noises from the dining room. A faint scratching sound from beneath the floorboards. When she mentioned it to Madame Aziane, the woman just laughed. "Oh, that's just the house settling, my dear." It's a very old house. One evening, Madame Aziane called Amara into her study. "Amara," she said, her smile wider than usual. "I have been so pleased with your work. Your cooking. It has a special quality, a vitality. I feel so much younger, so much more vibrant since you arrived. I want to give you a bonus." She handed Amara an envelope thick with cash. It was an obscene amount of money. Amara felt a surge of guilt mixed with her excitement. "Nonsense," Madame Aziane interrupted, placing a perfectly manicured hand on her shoulder. Her touch was ice cold. "You are worth every penny. In fact, I have a special dish I'd like you to prepare for me tonight. It's an old family recipe, very nourishing. I've written down the ingredients for you. She handed Amara a piece of paper. The list was bizarre. Exotic herbs Amara had never heard of, spices with strange, guttural names. And at the bottom of the list, one final instruction: a drop of the cook's own blood. For vitality. Amara stared at the paper, her blood running cold. This wasn't right. This was beyond strange. This was terrifying. "Madame, I can't do this," she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. Madame Azin's smile finally vanished. Her face transformed, the beautiful mask falling away to reveal something ancient and predatory. "Oh, but you must, my dear," she hissed, her voice losing its honeyed tone. "It's part of the job." "You are the final ingredient." Before Amara could scream, before she could run, the room seemed to tilt. The sweet smell she'd noticed before was now overpowering, coming from the tea Madame Azine had been sipping. Her legs gave way, her vision blurred, and the last thing she saw was Madame Azine's triumphant, terrible smile as the world faded to black. The next morning, the sun rose over Lagos. The birds sang their morning songs, and the yellow Dumfo buses began their daily chorus of honks. At the opulent Okoro mansion, the great iron gate opened not for a guest, but to allow the morning breeze to drift in. Inside, in the polished mahogany study, a new flyer sat fresh from the printer, its ink still sharp. It read, "Wanted. Expert cook. Salary 700,000 naira. Immediate start." Madame Azine sat on her magnificent porch, sipping a cup of steaming herbal tea. She looked renewed, absolutely radiant. Her skin had the unmistakable glow of a teenager, smooth and unblemished. Her hair, which had shown hints of gray, was now full, thick, and black as a raven's wing. Her phone buzzed. It was a text message from a frantic mother. "Where is my daughter, Amara? She was working for you. Please, I haven't heard from her in days." Madame Azine looked at the message, a flicker of annoyance crossing her perfect face. With a casual flick of her thumb, she deleted the message and blocked the number. She took another slow sip of her tea and smiled, looking out at her perfectly manicured garden. But the next one... Oh, the next one will be even sweeter. And somewhere in the grand, silent house, deep beneath the polished floorboards of the magnificent dining room, there was a sound. A faint, desperate scratching. The sound of a girl, weak and fading, trying to claw her way out. But the sound was frail, and the house was large. And soon the scratching stopped completely. So, my people, the lesson of Amara's story is a chilling one, but it is simple. The next time you see an offer that seems too perfect, a salary that's too big for a job that's too easy, I want you to stop and ask yourself one critical question. Are you the worker or are you the work? Because in the grand, ruthless market of life, if you don't know the price of the product being sold, it's very likely because you are the product. Be careful out there. The world is full of people like Madame Azine, hungry for more than just a well-cooked meal. Thank you for listening. Stay safe and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that make you think.